Okay, ordinance 820-2025 as amended by council members Griffin by departmental request, an emergency ordinance authorizing the director of finance to employ one or more professional consultants to study, assess, market, and self-corporate sponsorships for city facilities and assets. It was read for the first time July 9th, 2025. It's been approved by Director of Finance. There's no legal objection by the Law Department. Chief, and Director, tell us what this is about.
Good morning. Thank you for having us here today. So we wanted to present to this committee a proposal for the Parks and Recreation Department to enter into an agreement with a contractor to provide corporate sponsorship to support Parks and Recreation services. This item was recommended by the architects of the Parks and Recreation Master Plan as an opportunity for the city to get some funding to help support park and recreation operations. This could include both capital funding as well as operational funding. The city issued an RFP through our Open Docs portal. We had 19 vendors nationwide following this piece. 5 downloaded the document, so it was great that we had a lot of interest in this. We received one proposal, and it is from the Superlative Group, which is a local vendor. They are located in the city of Cleveland. We are seeking to do work in 2 phases if the entire proposal is accepted by our legislative body. The first phase would be an assessment of our facilities and the viability of them to receive corporate sponsorships. That would be a 90-day phase, estimated to cost $125,000. And if we proceed with that phase, we would go on to phase 2 if the city is interested and if we have enough viable properties to receive corporate sponsorship. That second phase would be an 18-month phase where we would pay the vendor to go out and seek corporate sponsorships. They would receive a portion of the revenue as compensation, and the city would receive the majority of that compensation. This item was reviewed by the Municipal Services and Properties Committee, and it was passed, and we are here today to seek approval from the Safety Committee, and I appreciate your time. Thank you.
So thank you, Director. And Director, identify yourself for the view in public again.
I apologize. My name is Alex Nichols, and I'm the Parks and Recreation Director for the City of Cleveland.
Thank you. So, to the view in public, you want us to authorize $305,000, correct?
To the chair, yes, that is correct.
And then you want to retain, at some point, a consultant, or I guess that's the best way to describe it, a consultant who then would go out and try to identify potential sponsors for city facilities. Is that it in a nutshell?
To the chair, yes, that is correct.
Okay, so what happens, let's say, Lonnie Burton Rec Center, there's a name on it already. What do you do with something like that?
So to the chair, we certainly respect and recognize that we have named many of our facilities after folks who've been very influential in our community.
Right.
The goal of this project is not to change the name of any of those facilities. I guess I would imagine it being similar to the way Playhouse Square does it, where the name is retained, and it could be, Progressive sponsoring Lonnie Burton Recreation Center, so the names would be retained.
So then they would actually put advertising on the building. How would that work? Let's say it's Progressive Insurance, and they want to sponsor a rec center. They would put their name on the building. How would they? Or
to the chair,
walk
yes.
us through that process.
So, yes, I'm going to pass this to Chief Teeter.
Thank you, Bonnie Tewan. I'm Chief Operating Officer. I think that's part of the negotiations. It would be similar to any naming rights that we have on any buildings, but that would be part of the negotiation. If they want signing, what type of signing, how big the signing would be.
Okay. So, outside of the Cleveland Browns Stadium, which the Browns control, are there any other buildings that are controlled by an outside entity? City buildings, complexes?
To the chair, depending on how you describe city buildings, the facilities at Gateway,
Okay.
which we have oversight of, those obviously have naming rights.
And we have no control over that?
That's correct.
Okay.
And it's those naming rights and the funding that are associated with those naming rights are usually written specifically in the contract who has responsibilities for those to pursue and to harvest the funding. The same would be for the convention center as well.
Right, okay. Okay, any other thoughts, Director, Chief, before I open up for questions?
To the chair, I think it is important that, to know that this ties into the master plan, and the master plan does recognize that Parks and Recreation facilities and services have been underfunded, and this is an opportunity for the city to get funding that would not come out of the general fund. So I think it would be a great benefit to our department.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Is everybody here from the law department? Just looking. Yes. Within the embodiment of the legislation, unless I'm overlooking it, is there anything in here that says that once the administration was to come up with a sponsor for a city building, that it would have to have the concurrence of city council?
Well, Councilman Casey's about to answer your question. Isn't this piece as amended?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't have there's the amendment. Oh, let me see, okay. Thank you. There's no legal objection if amended as follows. In Section 1, at the end, insert any selling of corporate sponsorships or naming or renaming of a city-owned properties or facility must obtain legislative approval prior to such sale or naming or renaming. So you answered my question. Thank you, Councilman, for making me aware. I forgot about that amendment. Okay. Questions of the committee. Councilman Casey, you had a question?
I just wanted to make sure that
Okay.
the amendment
Yes.
was read
Thank you.
for the record. And
Thank
that
you.
Any name that change or sponsorship or anything that comes before the body for legislative.
Thank you. Thank you. So anyone else? Councilman Slight, and then anyone else? Okay.
Me.
House
first.
Councilwoman House Jones.
To the chair, to the team here, I guess, have we just evaluated all of our names? I know people talk about the names of current buildings. I would just say that I don't know what that process needs to look like, but I am offering that we actually do need to do an evaluation of the names of the various buildings that the city of Cleveland actually has, even from things of presidents and things of that nature. Some individuals have some potentially questionable behavior that needs to be evaluated in 2025 and beyond. So how would we go about actually going through a formal process to evaluate the naming of buildings that the city of Cleveland actually owns?
Whoever wants, who can ever answer, like to answer.
Through the chair to the council member, I do appreciate that comment and question. I have had some recent conversations regarding how we name facilities. Do we have a naming process? I think it's something we do need to assess and evaluate and come up with some standards, and I appreciate your comment around assessing the names of some of our current facilities based upon who they are currently named after and any backgrounds they may have.
Okay, so through the chair to the director, so the idea is you all will come up with some processes for assessing the current namings and/or coming up with processes of how any future buildings will be named. So I just wanted to get a clarification.
Yeah, through the chair to the councilwoman, appreciate that comment. We do not have a process at this point, but we'd be happy to work with you in partnership as far as what those requirements should be. We obviously have a list of our facilities and the names of those facilities. We can review that with you and work with you on, what that process should be as far as moving forward and, reviewing what we have and also moving forward with naming.
Chief and the director. So yes, I would offer this as a suggestion to get an understanding of how, as best we can, the current naming of buildings, how they have come about, right? And as we are building in a criteria of sorts, then again, coming through a process, working.
Thank you, Council. Councilman Slife.
I guess the short answer is, yeah. You put the recommendations through the committees, but we are looking at all of our assets, which include all of our safety facilities, and the potential for some of those being naming. So I'm assuming that's why it's going through the safety committee.
Okay. So for my colleagues and through the chair, I think I have some. I think that there's times when selling naming rights is understandable, and there's other times where it's sort of akin to being blasphemous. So I'm very supportive of the amendment, and I want to, as you all explore the opportunities, I don't want to be going too far and kind of taking this to its most ridiculous conclusion, which is getting corporate sponsorship for every silly little thing in the city of Cleveland.
Okay. Thank you, Council. Any other questions of the committee members? Any other questions? The $305,000. Was that in the? Wait a minute. Where's the dollar amount here? Yes. Was that? I don't recall, and again, I don't have my budget book. That wasn't in the budget for recreation.
It's through finance, right?
I believe so.
Yes. So the funding was specifically through finance.
So, okay, so explain this to me. So the finance, is this in their line item? They have a line item for this?
It would be under contractual services.
Contractual services. So when we get the new budget, we're going to see that in there?
It would have been in this year's budget.
In this year's budget?
Correct.
Okay, I'm going to have to ask staff to point that out. So it was a part, because I don't think that was explained to us at the time. I know it wasn't explained to us at the time that was a part of that.
And I don't know if this is helpful, but the funding code is 01450.
Okay, we'll have
Okay.
staff take a look at that. Okay, are there any other questions from the committee members on ordinance 820-25 as amended? No other further questions? Without objection, again, ordinance 820-25 as amended is approved. Please sign it up. Here.
Thank you.
Okay. Oh, yes, hold on. There you go. Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Chief. Okay, sign it up here. Safety, where are we? Safety Committee. Okay. Okay, ordinance number 808-2025, as amended by Councilmembers Harrison, Polensek, and Griffin by Department request, an emergency ordinance to supplement the codified ordinances of Ohio, 1976, by enacting new section 401.711 relating to the definition of underspeed vehicles, and to enact new sections 450.01 to 450.06 and 450.99 relating to underspeed vehicles. First time reading was July 9th, 2025. Let me see what we got here. Approved subject to stated amendment, the City Planning Commission, and this is as amended again. Approved, let me see. Contents noted. Well, I'm going to ask the clerk because I've got contents noted is crossed out. Director Drummond's name is crossed out, but then under it says approved, so I'm not even clear what this is on here. And then Director of Finance approved. So what do we have here? I'm not clear here.
It was sent to Finance, Safety First, and then
But then it came back, okay, then it came back, okay. Then it came back to the Department of Public Safety, and then it was ultimately approved on 9/17 by the Director of Public Safety. Okay, here's the,
Those are the amendments?
At DPS, we didn't read it for what it's worth.
At that point, what you should have is they should just,
I know.
we should table that legislation.
I know.
We can put a whole piece of legislation.
As you can see, these are the amendments.
That's a piece of
Now,
legislation.
why wouldn't you just, okay, let me back up a second. So I read the piece to the Director of City Planning, to the Director of Public Safety, to the Chief of Police, to the command staff, and whoever else is here. Why wouldn't you just have come in with a new piece of legislation? That we can make head or tails out of it.
Good morning, Chair. Callie Mersman, Director of City Planning.
Yes.
We did discuss with law which avenue would be preferable and decided to go forward with what had already been introduced. We do have some local businesses that are eager to get operating under this ordinance if council should approve it, and so came with the amendments.
Well, I'm gonna make I'm gonna ask my colleagues for their thoughts before I proceed, because, we always try to accommodate and work with the administration. That's always been my position from day one here. And a majority of my colleagues are in the same mindset. But there comes a point where okay, my colleagues, again, you've seen the amendments. What are your thoughts? Should we hold the peace and ask them to come in with a substitute? I'm looking for your thoughts. I'm going to start to my left. I'm going to ask for your opinion, Councilman Casey.
Mr. Chairman, how much different are the amendments from the original piece of legislation?
Whoever can answer.
It looks like you've amended the whole piece of legislation.
To the councilman through the chair, the amendments really reflect the operationalization of the piece. So in administrative review, we did quite a lot of coordination with the Department of Public Safety on application requirements, and then also added a suspension and appeal process, which is at the end.
Okay.
I would recommend that you hold it and
Okay.
then come back with, as a legitimate real piece of legislation and not an amended piece that's as long as the original piece of legislation.
Yeah.
That's my recommendation.
Councilman Starr.
I'll second that, Chairperson.
Thank you. Thank you. Councilman Kelly.
I'll second it as well. Thank you.
Okay. To my right, Councilman Slife.
It's procedurally, I think would be bad. I don't know what the delay is. It did pass through DPS yesterday. I'm not gonna die on the hill for it, though.
Yeah. Councilwoman House Jones.
I had a whole conversation about this yesterday, so I am fully aware of all of that, because we had it yesterday.
So you think,
Yeah, I mean,
You
again,
wanna
I'm not sure what happened. Again, through the chair to the team, why haven't y'all updated it from yesterday to today?
To the councilwoman through the chair, it has been updated
Where is it?
yesterday.
Why don't we have it?
Law has reviewed it and it was provided to council
When? Why is it like that then?
yesterday. I'm sorry?
I'm saying, why does it look like that, the issue that people have versus?
That's the format of all of the amendments from initial introduction.
I know, but we adopted it yesterday, correct? Didn't it pass from DPS yesterday?
This
Yes.
is the same format that it was in yesterday.
I know, but,
okay.
so what's the issue right here, right now then?
Chair, do you want to?
Yeah, go ahead.
I believe the chair is suggesting that we reintroduce with all of the amendments incorporated rather than passing as amended, as we discussed with the amendments at DPS yesterday.
Yeah, so I did this yesterday, so whatever the
Okay.
purview of the body.
Thank you. We're gonna hold a piece. You're gonna come in with a substitute piece. We'll hear it at the next meeting, because we don't want to hold up anything that's a positive addition to our city and especially our downtown visitors, and we want to support local business. But I wanted to say this again to the administration. Don't come to us with pieces like this. It just doesn't work, okay? Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
And, sir, wait, do not, and identify yourself, sir.
My name is Chris Taylor. I'm one of the business owners that's trying to start this.
Okay, and we're here to be accommodating, as I've told some of my other colleagues who contacted me on this. But you just saw me hold up amendments, and we have to, the body, this legislative body, we have to understand what we're voting on. And when you come to us with a bunch of amendments like this, it's kind of confusing for us to understand what we're doing. We want to do the right thing. We want to do the right thing by the administration and by business people downtown. So we will,
Can we have it, because I know it can be, the way that our standards are, if there is public comment, then we actually need to have it run through public comment.
Yeah.
There are many constituents that come here that want to voice. We do not
Yeah.
have back and forth. So if we
No.
do have a point for
That's-
public comment, then that needs to be actually done.
valid point.
Thank you.
If you want to just come to the table and briefly, you've got, identify yourself for the viewing public.
Good morning, this is Chris Taylor, one of the business owners that's trying to get this through.
Yes.
Sir, just a little context here. We've been waiting 27 months for this to come through. For an ordinance to come through, 27 months. And we've already marketed, I only speak about it, we both already marketed, we've already spent money, we've already done a lot based on this thing passing, being told we passed by the end of this month. I understand it as a paperwork issue and a format issue, but that just seems really, really coarse and really like, I guess, and maybe you don't understand the context of 27 months. We've kind of gone through this with Calvin, we worked with Madison, we've kind of gone through this, and now we're being told that at least probably a 2-week delay for what is really a format issue.
Sir, let me say this to you. That issue is not with this body. Who you work with 27 months on is beyond me, but if I have, can I have a piece of legislation?
Introduced on July 9th, no one will be around.
Yeah, it was introduced July 9th.
I understand that.
So I will tell you, this body does not hold legislation for the sake of holding it. What happened, who was negotiating on this, I have no idea. Councilman Harsh specifically contacted me, and I said, we'll do everything we can to move it. But there has to be a basic and respect for the body.
I understand that, sir, but from your perspective, you just saw this, but from my perspective, I've been
Wait a
waiting
minute.
2 years.
Point of order, again,
Yeah.
respectfully, Chair.
Yes.
As you have, when there have been
Yes.
other
Go ahead.
public commenters
Yes.
here, it is not a standard for the back and forth. And so as the chair,
I
I
understand
am
that.
asking you to enforce the council rules when there are other people.
Yes.
Appreciate
You have to go through the chair. Go ahead.
To the chair, so I understand that you just saw this. I totally get it, that the city council and the body just saw this. from a perspective of sitting outside this building, sitting outside this office, again, it's been 27 months. Like, from my perspective as a citizen, I believe when I work in the community.
Yeah. Go ahead. No, continue your comment.
That's really where we're at. It's like, I understand there's a formatting thing, I understand you guys need to see things a certain way, but to pick at this one that we've been waiting for 2 years on, just seems really rough at this point in the process.
And thank you for your comment, Councilman Starr.
Sometimes things don't go the way we want on council as well. Sometimes you may be negotiating 27 months with the administration. That's fine and dandy. But through the ordinances and through the codified charter, council has a role to play on anything that we pass legislation. The administration does not control legislation or do anything from that. Once stuff is introduced, like we just heard through the chair, I believe it was introduced in July, right, Chair?
Yes.
So it was introduced July 9th, now we're here in September. That is standard process, and I'm sure it went through DPS, and it possibly had another committee, or just DPS and safety chair?
Yeah, let me see, hold on, let me look on the back here. It went through the, DPS, went through there on September 17th.
Yep, so you got to introduce in July. The next you know, we were actually on summer recess, so we didn't have committee. We had the first DPS meeting that you had, it was heard in DPS, it was passed out of DPS, then it has to go through safety committee, and then it has to go through potentially financial committee. But if you look at that long sheet of paper of all those amendments, and you want us to read it into record, not you, Chair, to the gentleman, the administration, if they put those in place and gave it to us in document, you want to have questions. Because at the end of the day, if we pass anything at this table and it comes back to hurt the residents or it doesn't work out, it's going to be council member's name in the paper on why did you vote on this. So to make sure we dot our I's and cross our T's through the chair, it's only right that we have everything in a great format that we can be able to make informed decisions. And I know sometimes the process is tough, but what I would like to ensure you to know that if something was introduced in July, during a recess, one meeting we had that month, and then one meeting in August, and it came back to committee, and now you got to hear at a chance for the table, 2 more weeks is not that more time frame. Now, I understand the backstory of what you were doing with the administration, but it was not the council. So we only could do it, no, it's
Okay,
not.
wait, through the chair.
Through the chair.
Excuse me.
Through the chair.
Through the chair.
From a taxpayer perspective, I understand what you mean, city hall to city hall, but from an educational standpoint, for you and the viewing public, there's an executive branch and a legislative branch. I understand what you mean, city hall to city hall, but from an educational standpoint, for you and the executive branch or the legislative branch are not two that were within reasonable time to be able to get a thing. This stuff that's been introduced when I got on council in 2022 that still haven't been heard yet because of the different issues that members have. So it's one of those tough process, and I just want to say thank you, Chair, and thank you, my colleagues, for bringing this point up to make sure we're doing our part as work as well. And I think we can find a pathway to success through the Chair and the work that he's doing. Thank you.
So, to the administration and to the law department, get this straight, we'll hear it as soon as possible. In fact, if it's up to the call of the council president, if he wishes to relieve it, that's his call as well of the committee. But again, we want to do what is right. We want to understand what we're passing. So without objection, ordinance number 808-2025 is going to be held until you guys clean this up. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Ordinance number 950-2025 by council members Polensek and Griffin by departmental request. An emergency ordinance authorizing the Director of Public Safety to apply for and accept a grant from the Ohio Department of Public Safety for the fiscal year 2026 Impaired Driving Enforcement Program and Selective Traffic Enforcement Program. It was read for the first time August 13th, 2025. It was approved by the Director of Public Safety It's been approved by Director of Finance. There's no legal objection by the Law Department. Director, Chief, or whoever else wants to comment. Thank you.
With me today with my Don Arsenal, I left, of course, Chief Todd, as well as Deputy Chief Morris, Sergeant Schaefer. This legislation would authorize the Director of Public Safety to apply for and accept a grant in the amount of $46,054.10 from the Ohio Department of Public Safety for fiscal year 2016 Clear Driving Enforcement Program and Selective Traffic Enforcement Program. This grant does not have a cash match requirement. The purpose of the grant, Road Impaired Driving Enforcement Program, Strategic Traffic Enforcement Grant, is to provide funding for OVR-related and speed-related traffic enforcement. The city will receive reimbursement for control officer overtime while conducting targeted enforcement. The grant term is stated for is $46,054.10. The grant is from October of this year through September 30th of 2026. Again, there's no matching requirements. And the money in the dollars will be reimbursed as follows: for personnel, $40,864.78. Patrol officer overtime, education, which is $100. Transportation is $1,689.32. That's for fuel, for a total of, we mentioned, $46,054.10. Again, there's no local match, and we received this grant annually since 2008. We're here for your questions.
Okay, thank you, Director. Chief, do you have any comment?
No, sir, thank you.
Okay. Here's my question, and I want to express my growing concerns. At virtually every meeting I attend to in my neighborhood, the number one issue I'm being confronted with the public safety is speeding in our neighborhoods. Speeding through our commercial districts, through school zones, people not stopping at traffic signals, going through stop signs. Just a general disregard for the traffic laws in the city of Cleveland. I see it myself. In fact, I've told my kids when the light changes, do not automatically go through the light, because I see folks just blowing through the traffic signals in my community, and I've seen it downtown. I saw it on 9th Street the other day. I mean, I was like, this guy went right through the lights on 9th Street. So we collectively support this, but when I need to understand, what is the game plan for traffic enforcement in the city? Can someone explain to me? Because I'm hearing it, but I'm not seeing it.
So to the chair, as you know, not only do we have our traffic enforcement unit, our district traffic cars, but we also partner with the Ohio State Highway Patrol for traffic enforcement details. Those details are very successful. I don't know if, the underlying condition still exists, with the disobedience and the traffic laws. But I can tell you that we are still committed to addressing complaints from the community, council members regarding the traffic hotspot areas.
So should complaints still go to the district commanders, or you want them to go into the traffic commissioner? Tell us.
So they can go to the district commanders.
Okay.
And the district commanders partner with the traffic commissioner on these details.
Okay.
And they identify those locations.
Okay. You mentioned about the Ohio Highway Patrol, and as the director knows in my discussions with him, because we meet weekly, I've constantly raised the issue about getting OHP in here on a regular basis. Do we have any schedule? Do we have anything that can put members at ease or at rest as it pertains to when they're going to be up here enforced? I mean, I saw what took place in the 4th District, that 2-week period there in the 4th District, and I was absolutely astonished. The number of arrests they made, contraband, outstanding warrants, drugs, guns. I was like, holy jamoli here. Several former chiefs have told me that policing starts with traffic enforcement. When you do traffic enforcement, that sets the tone across the board. And most of the suburbs put a great emphasis on traffic enforcement. In fact, when I saw the two Cleveland Browns players that were arrested for driving their exotic sports cars extremely fast in a suburb, a western suburb, the message was, as I heard from that chief, the message is don't speed in Strongsville. That was the message he sent. Do not speed through our city. And so somehow we've got to get that same mindset, that same message across in our city, because I don't see it in my own neighborhood. And I have to have assurances that you're hearing what the council concern. Because this speeding, I'm telling you, I've never experienced stuff like this before in my time here. I don't even know why you have red lights, traffic signals anymore, or stop signs. Boom, boom, boom. Even through our school zones, they don't pay attention to the school zone. I got kids, little kids crossing. Boom, they're blowing through the school zones. So you're telling us council members need to notify the district commander, and and also the traffic commissioner. To Dawn, is there any way we can secure, and identify yourself again for the viewing public.
Sure, the chair, my name is Dawn Hartson, I'm the grants coordinator for police.
Is there any way we can secure more money from whoever out of state for traffic enforcement?
Well, to the chair, this one is specifically for traffic blitzes.
Yeah.
We're tied by specific days, like St. Patrick's Day, we can use this funding, 4th of July, New Year's Eve, prom, and things like that. General traffic enforcement money, I have not seen a grant out there for just general traffic enforcement, but I'll definitely keep my eye open and anything I can find.
So you're telling us, wait a minute, we can only use these for special events?
To the chair, yes, this is for dates that are specified by the state of Ohio where there are high incidences of accidents. So like I said, 4th of July, New Year's Eve, St. Patrick's Day.
Okay. So those are the three. Is there more than that?
Yeah, there are more than that.
Okay. If you could provide that to us, I'd be interested in seeing what those days are. I'm sure my colleagues would as well. Because today, I mean, my residents are of the opinion, every day is a special event. They want traffic enforcement in the neighborhoods. So, okay, I'm going to stop there. Chief, you have any comment? Your team have any comment on this?
Yes, to the chair,
Yes.
just one other comment.
Sure.
You were asking about the details. The details, we have several throughout the month in partnership with Ohio State Highway Patrol. We actually have one scheduled for next week with them.
Good.
These are outside of our regular details that we have internally.
Good. Get them in the 5th District, let me tell you. Get them in the 5th District. You want to make some money, get them in the 5th District. Because it's insane what I see happening in our streets on the northeast side of the city. Okay, members of the committee, questions? Councilman Slife and Councilman Kane.
I just feel compelled to remind us all, it's two things that are unfortunate. One is that there's a charter prohibition against traffic cameras, and I'm of the opinion that if that were brought back to the voters at this stage, that I would not be surprised if that were repealed, given what we've seen of people speeding and blowing red lights through the city, especially since COVID-19.
Yes.
I also feel compelled to add that there are individuals at the Ohio State House who, regardless of whether or not there's a local prohibition, have really hamstrung local communities in their ability to use automated enforcement. And frankly, one of those individuals is a state senator that represents a portion of my neighborhood, Tom Patton. So I think we need to have a conversation about what we need to allow for in our local laws, but I also think it's very unfortunate that we have individuals who would go so far as to tell me they don't feel safe in the city of Cleveland, encouraging the lack of safety in the city of Cleveland.
Yeah.
So, thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Casey.
One of our Congress chief, can you just do us a favor? Can you provide us with the number of new TT tickets that have been issued by the division over the last 10 years?
For the viewing public, what that
Traffic ticket. The Division of Police have issued per year over the last 10 years.
Through the chair to the council.
traffic enforcement on, will supply us what those special events are, 25. Is approved as, apologize here, Councilman.
Well, I know and they pursue starting from downtown and then led.
Start. That's a really good question. We have the we talk with them and so forth, but and again, we can't make policies and the whole
Policy of the Cuyahoga to the chair, meaning if we have a pursuit patrol that we have for our police officers in the city of Cleveland, that's our policy. But then if the sheriffs have a different policy for what they do and of how they work or coincide together.
pursuit policy. Each jurisdiction have their own policies, and then who's the sheriff department.
Okay, through the chair to our staff, is it possible that you can get over to us, Ms. Ibicon, send over to me the actual current pursuit policy that the city of Cleveland have, or Cleveland PD, and then if you could pull the sheriff, both of those to see, see what we have in place to make sure that we have those protocols are being met when all these different incidents are occurring through the chair.
Can I just
Yes,
have a comment? Through the chair to Councilmember Starr, they don't have to follow our policy at all. So I just want to be clear of that. Even if the policies are completely different, just because they operate inside of the city of Cleveland or any of the suburbs, they follow their own policy. They don't have to be in compliant with the local policies.
Yep, and through that same stance, thank you, Chief. Through that same stance, Ms. Ibicon, our staff, can you also, once you provide those documents, can you also provide the last time or frame they were last updated as far as the policy too? So, for the city and the sheriffs, if you could pull that or find any information to say when the last time they reviewed, and then also within context, could you provide who are the ones who are making these policies, in charge of amending those policies, and also when are they reviewed on a regular basis through the chair? That's all, Chair.
Okay, thank you. Just on that note, I had asked previous safety directors and chiefs over the years. I'm trying to think, please correct me, is the Greater Cleveland Police Chiefs Association, what is that group?
The Cuyahoga County Chiefs.
Cuyahoga County. I had asked that there be some dialogue to take place with them, but I was told again, unless things have changed, that each suburb, because I was having a problem with the suburban forces coming into the northeast side of the city, specifically out of Euclid and Lake County, and I was told then that we could not govern their pursuit policy, even though it came into the city of Cleveland, which I found extreme, and I still find extremely troubling, that they could come in and into our municipal boundary, and yet we have a pursuit policy here, but they didn't have to adhere to it. But I was told at the time there was nothing that we could do about that, and I don't know if has anything changed along those lines?
To ensure it has not changed. They have their policy they adhere to, just like we have our policy we adhere to. So we had a conversation last Deputy Chief with the County Sheriff's Association about potentially having a countywide pursuit policy, but that has not happened.
Yeah, I think, yes, Ms. House, point.
conversation. Again, as we are talking about policies, then that is the role of legislators, to talk to other legislators in other jurisdictions if we believe that there is an opportunity to have some synergy within policies. Again, for the people who are responsible for implementing the policies, such as our various law enforcement opportunities, as Councilman Starr has requested the different policies from the City of Cleveland, as well as the Sheriff's Department, it will present itself. If there are some things that are different, then we will have the opportunity to advocate with our counterparts for Cuyahoga County for changes that we want. So, Councilman Starr, I would like to offer that to you, and we're working as a partner with you. If there are some issues regarding the differences of police pursuits, we as legislators have an absolute opportunity and responsibility to have similar conversations with the legal jurisdiction to see how we can work in partnership to ensure that not only our law enforcement officers are confused throughout Cuyahoga County, but more importantly, our citizens and visitors are safe no matter where they go. So that's the thing that I will offer. Secondarily, since we're... Okay.
Councilman Starr still
Okay, go ahead.
the floor. Thank you. So you're up next, Ms. House. You were up next. Go ahead.
Oh, he finished? Okay. Well, since we have general conversations. Through the chair, to the team here, would you all be able, because this is not the time, but since we are asking a conversation, can you all provide us the context of what actually transpired regarding the play issue that happened downtown, right? Many of our, but I would say a couple of people of our offices have received calls about how was the City of Cleveland able to enforce whatever was perceived as a nuisance compared to many of the lack of enforcement when there are tragedies, shootings, deaths at other bars and establishments within the City of Cleveland, and many times absolutely nothing is done. And so again, there is a feeling that at times there is desperate treatment of how neighborhood tragedy has happened compared to what is done in the city in downtown Cleveland. So if you all, again, this is not the format for that, but since we have you all here, I would be remiss, and especially I know it was the one young man who came in public comment this past Monday that talked about, his reputation and all those things, and I believe his name is Mr. Hill, and I think I would be remiss if I did not, officially ask that, even from my perspective, because there are some troubling establishments near my neighborhood, and people have for years been asking for enforcement issues, and nothing has occurred. And so again, for us to be very clear on what are the procedures, so if there is an avenue for troubled establishments, and I'm not saying that was the case for play, because I don't know, but I do know that there have been some troubled establishments in other parts of the city, and there has been a lack of enforcement from what we saw that transpired in the City of Cleveland. So if you all can provide that to us, that would be greatly appreciated.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Casey, you had another comment?
Mr. Chairman, to the chief, don't we have MOUs with other jurisdictions regarding pursuits that come into the city of Cleveland?
Through the chair to the council member, it's not about the pursuits. It's about mutual aid. When you talk about the other, it's if there was a SWAT call-up, or if there was a critical incident, agencies they adhere to our policy.
Our pursuit policy as well.
I think all of those.
Is it possible, and I understand it's a little different with the sheriff's department because they have their jurisdiction, but has there been a conversation at all with the sheriff? Regarding at least the beginning stage nation, right? I mean, it's 27 pages long. And obviously, department regarding something, right? I mean, we just can't have any department just coming in and running rogue. And I'm not saying that they're rogue, but there's been the 2 incidents that, you know, if those were Cleveland police officers, probably, most likely, there wouldn't have been a pursuit in those cases, just due to our pursuit policy. So has there been at least conversations with the sheriff's department in some aspects with the administration surrounding the incidents that have happened, or a plan for any future incidents?
Chief?
So through the chair to Councilman Casey, when you look at the pursuit policies of other agencies, we bring in Ohio State Highway Patrol. They adhere to their pursuit policy. We bring in our federal partners for assistance with our violent crime reduction, traffic enforcement. They adhere to their pursuit policies. Each agency operates under a different policy, so to require one would be, conversations with all. The tragedy that with this particular pursuit, I understand the frustration and I understand the questions, but each policy is regulated, whether it be by the county, the state, or federally. So it's really a challenging topic when you talk about regulating one, when we have multiple agencies who come in with different policies.
All right, I was just wondering. Thank you.
Thank you. No other further questions. I don't believe there's any other further, but I would say to the members that are present, we're going to ask, as I indicated to the Assistant Safety Director on Tuesday, at some point we're going to want an update on the drones, because the drones, our staff is undergoing training right now on the implementation of drones, not only for the Division of Police, but for the Division of Fire. Are they, just briefly, are they up at all?
For the Division of Police, yes, not for the Division of Fire.
So the Division of Police drones are up?
Through the chair, or to the chair, yes, they're not up completely, but we
Okay.
do have certified operators who have used them during different incidents.
So at some point shortly, we're going to ask you for a presentation on that. And then again, as I indicated, OHP, please keep us in the loop on the Ohio Highway Patrol. I did follow up on Councilman Casey's comment. I spoke to Congressman Max Miller on 2 occasions this week and expressed to him that the body, we are opposed to the implementation of National Guard coming into Cleveland. I said to him that until I hear the mayor, the safety director, and the chief of the city of Cleveland request that, this body would not even remotely consider that. And I want to say this for the record, he listened, we had a good discussion, and I just indicated to him that I would hope that he and others would engage us more in discussions and dialogue. We're not here to fight, but the implementation of the National Guard is not needed in the city of Cleveland. And I'm very pro-law enforcement. I can tell you without any fear or contradiction, I don't see that at this point a need for that to take place in the city of Cleveland. And again, I want to thank him for his willingness to dialogue at length. And we talked at length about this. So any other questions, miscellaneous? If not, this committee stands adjourned. Thank you very much.